Good evening and good day, everyone. I, Maneen Kaur, the moderator for the day, welcome you all on behalf of Anand Global Foundation for the final presentation session for the 3-week internship program on building leaders of life skill. I am sure that after extensive research, conclusive surveys, effective negotiations, and unanimous conclusions later, the interns, along with the mentor and co mentor, have culminated their efforts beautifully in the forthcoming presentation. I now would like to introduce the esteemed jury members for this session. We have Ms. Jaswinder Gandok with us. Ma'am is a versatile and visionary educationist with more than 20 years of experience in teaching and heading CBSE schools as principal across India. She is currently serving as the principal of Gurukul World School, Mohali. We welcome you, ma'am. Now, I would also like to introduce Ms. Nitika Tomar Man. Ma'am has over 2 decades of rich experience of inspiring students while working in schools affiliated to different boards such as CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE, and IB. She is currently serving as the principal of Indraprastha Global School, Noida. I extend our gratitude to both the jury members for sparing their time and wisdom to judge today's presentation. Today, we are joined by Team Pecunians with us who will be sharing their ideas on the topic Money is a great servant but a bad master. The team is mentored by Vijay Chandel and co mentored by Sarthak Singhal. We have the team members as Mehak Gupta from Delhi, Akshita Man and Harshit Kaur from Haryana, and Rishabh Yadav and Shrija Jain from Maharashtra. I welcome the team as well as the mentor and co mentor. I wish the team the very best. You may start a presentation. The floor is all yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you are progressing admirably. Before we kickstart the event today, I, Sadak Singhal, the co-mentor of Team Pecunians, Masters of Money. For now, I want to respect all of you to this exceptional event. I am amazingly thankful to Anand Global Foundation to give us this opportunity and recognize our interns. Welcome to all the jury members and the lovely audience. We appreciate you all joining us today for the event. Also, I might want to stretch out my sincere appreciation to Mrs. Aarti Gidar, who is the founder of NN Global Foundation, and every other person who were in case more than prepared to offer their help in making this event a success. It is beyond the realm of imagination to expect to take the names of all, so I need to thank everybody who contributed in a few or other way towards this event. Our topic is Money is a great servant, but a bad master. The mentor of our team is Vijay, and our interns are Shreja Jain, Akshita Man, Mehak Gupta, Harshit Gaur, and Rishabh Yadav. Now, I would like our mentor Vijay to take the presentation from here. Here you go, Vijay.
Thank you, Sadak, for the same. So, to everyone, to the esteemed faces that we have here today, this is the team Pecunians. And I know you must be having questions why Pecunians? What's the meaning behind it? Well, in Latin language, pecunia means money, and that is the reason we have taken up this name. Pecunians is basically a team of 7 people, and to be very specific, it's a team of 5 people who are human beings from Earth, and they are the masters of money. As visible on the screen, the Pecunians, our team members are Harshit, Mehak, Shrija, Rishabh, Akshita. On the left hand side, Sarthak, and me, that is Vijay. Well, the entire presentation will take you not just through concepts and the terminologies, but it will take you through a story which is set between 2 specific years, the 2 interesting years. The first is 2019, when in the last day the pandemic started, and will take you to 2029, where the last day where another different interesting pandemic started. So our entire presentation is also a story of this beautiful 5 pecunians who have launched a campaign to do something of a social cause, and everything else will be conveyed to you via the presentation. So to the teams of pecunians, the 5 people, 5 faces, I hand over the presentation to you all. Please take care of it. Harshit, please check the audio.
What? There has been phenodynamic on Earth? I must tell it to Meg. Meg, did you read that email? What's happening on Earth?
Yes, I read the email. I know what's happening on Earth. It's very sad. Shrija, do you know what's happening on Earth?
Yes, I know what's happening on Earth. There's a phenodemic going on, isn't it?
What?
What?
So, now that we know about the phenodemic on Earth going on in 2030, let's take a trip back in time, shall we? And let's learn how money has evolved over time. So, money has been through many stages of evolution, starting off as a barter system, metallic money, paper money, and now digital money. So, the barter system was used as a system of exchange in which people exchanged goods and services for other goods and services.
Metallic money are the money which are issued by the central bank of a country in the form of metals that acts as an ultimate legal tender for the economy.
Currently, paper money is in wide circulation. These consist of currency notes that are issued by the central bank.
Digital money or digital currency refers to any means of payment that exists purely in technological form. Digital money is not tangible like a dollar bill or a coin. Digital money is an exchange using technologies such as smartphones, credit cards, and other cryptocurrency changes.
Can somebody please explain me the function of money? Why was money made and what's the need of money?
Yes, calm down. I will tell you what the function of money is. So money mainly acts as a medium of exchange. Money is the one that facilitates the transaction of all goods and services. Buyers buy goods through money and sellers sell goods through money.
Unit of account is a well-known function of money. A unit of measurement of value or cost of goods, services, or assets. It lends meaning to profit, losses, liability, and assets.
Money also acts as a store of value. To do this, money needs to be responsibly saved, stored, and retrieved, which basically means that the value of money has to remain stable over time.
But how did money turn as the bad master? To understand this, let's first have a look at some theories and laws relating to money that one should know. First, we have Gresham's law. Gresham's law is a theory in economics stating that bad money drives out good. What this means is that if coins of two different metals of different values were in circulation at the same time, people would hoard the coins of greater value and the ones with lesser value would actually be used for payment. The next theory that we have is quantity theory of money. Quantity theory of money is the theory that states that variations in money supply directly relate to variations in the average price level of the economy. In other words, this means that if there was an increase in the money supply of the economy, the average price level of the economy will also tend to rise in proportion to the money supply. This can be represented by a formula MV is equal to PT.
What is the relationship between money and happiness? Can money buy happiness? Money can buy a certain degree of life satisfaction. Happiness is related to income. Both life satisfaction and experience well-being increases with the income. Can a person stay happy with a limited wealth? Money and its goal is nothing more than a tool. If we have enough to meet our needs, we should live in stress desperately to try and get more money, but still everyone wants more money. How does money control a person? First, people tend to judge their own self-worth according to their bank balance. Second, People believe money brings happiness and peace. Third, people prioritize money over humanity, which in turn give rise to crimes such as robbery and theft, and even murders over money reasons.
Now, what are the signs that money is controlling you? So, the first sign is negative growth. You keep trying to make more money. You put all your efforts in making more money. But let me tell you one thing. This is the phase where you are the servant and money is the master. The second, morals. You are willing to let go of your morals. In brief, you try to prioritize money over your morals. The third, no self-control. You have no self-control and you are too stingy with your money. Let me tell you an example. Donna Anderson, the founder of lovebroad.com, she met and married a man who claimed to be a successful businessman. After their marriage, the man asked for $250,000 just to invest in his various companies. A successful story of Robert Kiyosaki. He's the famous author, the greatest businessman, and the greatest investor. His words, the poor work for money and the rich makes money work for them. From the first selling book, Rich Dad and Poor Dad.
My God, did you guys see this? This is what's happening on Earth. People are valuing money over everything else. What do we do about this?
Yes, we should take the help of the Pecunians.
Don't worry, humans. We Pecunians have a plan. We plan to launch a psychological campaign in the minds of humans to teach them how to manage their money better.
Can me and Rishabh join you too?
Yes, can we please be a part of your campaign?
Yes, of course you can join our campaign. Together, we will teach humans how to become masters of money. So this campaign is going to include 3 parts and will be called Woe Pecunians. Why to make money your servant, how to make money your servant, and the last part, when to make money your servant.
So, the first phase of our campaign, Hopic Union, where W stand for why to make money your servant. So, when you start prioritizing money over itself and give money a great purpose, this is the phase where you are the servant of the money. But when you let go of your money, you think about your personal life and don't think about money. This is the phase where you are the master of your own money. Money would not give you inner peace and happiness. Money controlling you will lead to a very bad mental health.
This reminds me, do you guys remember the Great Pecunia Survey of 2021? It was a comparative study. The study objective was to study the relationship of humans with their money of 2 different age groups, 15 to 24 years of age and 31 to 40 years of age. The most wonderful and unique part about this study was its study design. Its comparative variables, unit of analysis, sample size, and study settings were beyond its time. What and why comparative study? Now we come to the question, what is a comparative study? Comparative study contrasts between different subjects. It displays the similarities and the differences of the subjects. Why did we choose to do a comparative study? We did it in order to analyze the transition of changes in values and beliefs associated with money of people of different age groups, the teens and the adults. The variables taken for this study were independent variable and dependent variable. Now, what is independent variable? Independent variable is a variable which can be manipulated by the one who makes the survey. In this case, the independent variable taken was the amount of money. The dependent variable is the variable that is affected by the changes in the independent variable. This is what is measured in a survey. In this case, it was values and beliefs of the people. The less money-oriented people were taken on the positive pole and the more money-oriented people were taken on the negative pole. We will know more about this later in an alteration graph. Now, what was the unit of analysis of the study? We had taken two age categories, humans of age 15 to 24 years and humans of age 31 to 40 years. The sample size of this survey was 300. For each age category, we took responses from 150 individuals for the age category 15 to 24, as well as for the age category 31 to 40. In order to do this, we created two different survey forms. We accepted responses till we reached the desired limit, which was 150 individuals. As soon as we reached the limit of 150 individuals, we stopped that survey and continued accepting responses in the other survey. As soon as we reached 150 individuals in the other survey as well, we stopped accepting responses for that too. This ensured that we got the equal amount of responses in both the surveys, which was 150 individuals. The study setting of this survey was Google Forms. We used Google Form as a remote way of getting responses. In this survey, no visuals were used and we tried to keep the survey error-free as much as possible. We tried to overcome many different restrictions, just as the physical ban of COVID-19, reducing the labor work of our interns, and avoiding response and undercoverage bias, as well as any other extraneous variables.
To make our survey more informative, we are comparing different age criteria for some particular questions. Study survey elaboration. Are you satisfied with your current income or pocket money? In the age group of 15 to 24, 45% of people said no, and in the age group of 31 to 40, 55.6% people preferred yes. Would you lend money to a friend in need who would not be able to return it? In the age group of 15 to 24, 55.9% said yes, and there's something interesting in the age group of 31 to 40. Here we can see that there's a little to no difference between the maybe and the no option. So the options were just the same. Would you donate 30 to 40% of your income or pocket money to any needy NGO? In the age group of 15 to 24, 42.4% people preferred yes, and in the age group of 31 to 40, 46.2% people said no.
Can you make money using your passion rather than job? 48.3% of people from the age category 15 to 24 says yes, they can make money using their passion, and 47% of people from the same age category are not sure about it, while 51.2% of people from age category 31 to 40 aren't sure, and 28.7% of people from the same age category do not believe that they can make money out of their passion. Is it okay to prioritize money over mental health? Is it okay to prioritize money over relationships? 44.7% of people from the age category 15 to 24 believes that they will never prioritize money over relationships. And 45% of people from the same age category believes sometimes it is okay to prioritize money over relationships, while 54.9% of people from the age category 31 to 40 believes that sometimes it is okay to prioritize money over relationships. Is it okay to prioritize money over mental health? 74.7% of the people from the age category 15 to 24 believes that it is not okay to prioritize money over mental health, while this percentage drops to 47.3% for the age category 31 to 40, and they do not and 30.7% of the people from the age category 31 to 40 believes that sometimes it is okay to prioritize money even over mental health.
Now, do you feel that a good income is the first priority while considering a job? In the teenage criteria, the answer was that was not their first priority with a percentage of 59%. But in the age criteria of 31 to 40, the answer was yes, with the percentage of 62.5. Now, do you think having more money can solve all your problems? In the teenage group, the answer was no, with the percentage of 40.7. Also, in the age criteria of 31 to 40, the answer was no, but with a slightly different percentage of 40.6. The interesting thing to notice here is the people were confused between the not sure option and yes, because the percentage are almost equal. Do you think making more money is very important for a peaceful life? In teen group, the answer was yes with a percentage of 42. And in the adult group, the answer was also yes with a percentage of 44.5. Can you live a happy life with an income less than 5 lakh? In the teenage group, the answer was barely equal in all, not very confident about it, with a 33 percentage, and yes with a 36.7 percentage. That was an interesting thing to know. But in the adult age group, the answer was no, with the highest percentage of 49.7. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you agree with the statement one should aim at earning as much money as possible in post COVID-19? In the adult age group, the answer was 32.4 at the scale of 8. But in teenage group, the answer was 19.6 on a scale of 8. But the interesting thing to notice here is on the scale of 5 and 10, the percentage is almost equal. This shows how dynamic was this question.
Now, for the analysis of this great survey, we chose to analyze 4 different aspects: similarities, differences, alternation graph, and the comparison graph. So now that we've seen the questions, let's look at the similarities that we found from both the age categories. The individuals from both the categories agreed that they would lend money to a friend who wouldn't be able to return it. They also agreed that it is never okay to value mental health over money. They both believe that money is important for a peaceful life and that money cannot solve all your life problems. And lastly, both the age categories, teen and adult, believe that we should aim at earning as much money as possible post-COVID-19. Now that we've seen the similarities between the 2 age categories, let's look at the differences between them. So the individuals from the 15 to 24 age categories are not currently satisfied with their pocket money or income, whereas the individuals from the 31 to 40 age category are mostly satisfied with their income. The people from the teen category would donate to NGOs because they appreciate social work, but the people from the 31 to 40 age categories would only donate if they got a higher income. The people from the 15 to 24 age category think that they can make money out of their passion and they don't need a job to make money, whereas the individuals from the 31 to 40 age criteria are not sure about this question and they think that a job might be needed to make money.
Most of the individuals from the 15 to 24 age category said that they would never value money over relationship, whereas individuals from the older age category said they would sometimes value money over relationship. Individuals from the younger age category said that money is not the first priority in job selection, but it still is very important. Whereas individuals from the elder category said that yes, it's definitely true that money is the first priority in job selection. People from the younger age category said they were not very confident whether they could live a peaceful life with income less than 5 lakhs, whereas people from 31 to 40 age category said yes, they could live a peaceful life with income less than 5 lakhs.
So now for the comparison graph. We analyzed 5 different parts: relationship value, mental health value, life problems, peace, and lastly, post-COVID-19 action.
Relationship of money. In the age criteria of 15 to 24, 43.3% prioritize money over relationships sometimes, and in the age group of 31 to 40, 54.9% people prioritize money over relationships sometimes. Mental health or money. In the age group of 15 to 24, only 12% of them prefer money more than mental health. And in the age group of 31 to 40, 22% prefer yes and mental health prior over money, money over mental health.
So this is a particularly interesting graph because as we can see, the responses are very divided in both the age categories, especially the adult age category. So they were asked the question that does money solve all your life problems? And we can see in the no part, the teen responses and the adult responses come down to a 40%. When asked if money was important for a peaceful life, the people from the teen category, 42% of them, yes, 42% of them said yes, money is important for a peaceful life, whereas 44% of the adults agreed with them. Now, in this question, we can see that both the age groups seem to be agreeing with each other very much because they were asked if we should earn more money post COVID-19 or not. And most of them said yes, because they answered between the 6 to 10 scale. So this is a particularly interesting slide. So here we have an alternation graph. The objective of this graph is to see people's values and beliefs relating to money change over time. An important point to keep in mind is that the observations that we derive from this graph are solely based on the 300 responses that we collected from our survey. So on the y-axis of this graph, we have the amount of money. So we have current amount and on top increased amount of money. And on the x-axis at the bottom, we have people's values and beliefs relating to money. So we have less money oriented, moderately money oriented, more money oriented, and highly money oriented, which is the worst out of all of them. So the left side of this graph is the past and the right side is the future. And that white line that you see in the middle is the present. So as we can see, at present, both the age categories' values on money lie somewhere between moderately money oriented and more money oriented, which is not the best. But the scary thing is that there is a drastic change in the 15 to 24 age category, but both the groups genuinely become more and more money oriented as time goes on. And people in the future will become highly money oriented, especially the younger generations. And this is exactly why the phenodemic occurred in 2030. And this is our conclusion on the alteration graph, which is based on the responses that we collected for our survey. So what we can derive from this great survey is that almost 55% of the population from both the age categories collectively wish for more money, which basically means that 55 out of 100 people wish for more money. Now, that ended on a pretty negative note, but I would just like to say that to conclude, people really need to be taught to value money less and other aspects of their life more. But to end this whole thing on a positive note, I would just like to say that whatsoever may be the situation, helping each other only embraces humanity.
Okay, so now let's move on to the second part of phase of our campaign, Woe Pecunians, how to make money your servant. How to stop money from controlling. First, view money as a tool. Money does not hold any value for itself. It can buy things that can add value to your life, but it does not hold any value on itself. So view money as a tool. Second, pay off debt and revise and strategize your expenses. Financial mistakes and how to avoid them. There are plenty of financial mistakes people tend to do every day. Mistake number 1, not planning for the future. People tend to spend all of their income in the present and do not think of the future. Mistake number 2, not setting financial goals. This is one of the common mistakes. We should always set financial goals for ourselves. Mistake number 3, confuses between needs and wants. Now, particularly, the Generation Z tends to confuse wants as needs and overspend them. Mistake number 4, too greedy for luxury things. People are really greedy for luxury things and always forget to invest in the longer term assets. Now, how to make better financial decisions? Focus on building your net worth. Do not spend on luxury items, rather spend on buying long-term assets. Second, set inspirational goals. One and all, everyone should have financial goals. Third, take responsibility. We should always take responsibility of our expenses and budget our expenses as well. Fourth, live on a strict budget. We should always create a budget plan for ourselves. Rule number 5, say goodbye to debts. We should never leave debts unpaid.
How to make money work for you. First, always have a passive income or a side income. Second, invest in banks and etc. Third, learn to budget. Fourth, keep other elements of your life above it. And fifth, remember, while making decisions, that money is only a unit that has to buy your needs and wishes, that gleams your heart.
The third phase of our campaign, Who Pick Union, where E stands for when to make money your servant. Humans, I don't understand. You have no idea where your money is going. You have technologies, you have resources, you value money almost above everything. You don't have plans for the future. What are you doing, humans?
Calm down, Harshit. It's okay. We launched the campaign. We should be seeing the results any time now.
Hey, everything has now changed on Earth. People are now having a perspective to things.
Yes, children are no more studying to get a job, but because of the dedication to learn.
People no more fear to donate to NGOs and are quite satisfied with their salaries.
Ladies now don't fight over the income and are very happy with their spouse.
Government officials are no more involving themselves in corruption for earning more money.
People have started to value each other as a person and human.
Yes, they finally understood the value of relationship, mental health, and life over money.
The entire corporate world has changed its vision from making money to celebrating their skills.
And the entire education system has been changed from getting highest marks to acquiring more skills and working on passion.
Akshita, I'm so happy to be a Pecunian.
Even me, we as Team Pecunians made it. We could finally make a change.
What's this? 12.3 billion people on a Zoom call? Wow, I am so glad to hear that our team could help each and every one of you realize that all of you have the potential to become masters of money.
What most people today have forgotten is that money is only a tool. It's a tool you use to gain actual things that add value to your life. Money separately does not hold any value to your life. And all that is a key point to remember. Where it is a key point to remember in your mind when these days all we do is chase money.
It is crucial to always prioritize one mental health and relationship before money. as money comes and goes, but at the end of the day, the people we have around us and how we feel will decide if we are happy.
We do understand that money has power to make you the prime by gaining as much wealth as possible. But that wealth is pseudo. Pseudo wealth is what you will get ultimately.
So listen up, humans. At the end of the day, it's up to you to decide whether you want to be the master or the servant of money. And we Pecunians say, be the master.
Now to address the most asked questions by you humans. What are some of the rules to follow to become financial masters? So here, the Pecunian rule number 1, follow the 50-30-20 for budgeting. Utilize 50% of your income towards necessities, 30% towards your lifestyle choices, 20% of your income towards saving, investment, and financial goals.
This is the second rule, humans, but I think it's the most important rule. Money isn't everything. Our family values are most important in our life. So, in the end, I just want to say, humans, money isn't everything.
The Pecunian rule number 3. Life is much more than figures of a bank account. It is about believing in yourself, having peace within us, cherishing happiness and passion, and being a socially responsible human.
So today, with all of you humans present here, we would like to take a pledge. Today, we Pecunians, masters of money, hereby take a pledge with the billions of humans present here that we will distinguish between our needs and wants.
We'll make wise financial decisions and plan our budgets.
Vow to always help ourselves and everyone associated with us.
We'll ensure to value our relationships over money.
We'll never let our greed divide us, drive us, and dominate us.
Respecting life and its value, we solemnly vow to be masters of our money and not let money master us.
Humans, be a Pecunian.
Be a Pecunian.
Be
a
a
Pecunian.
Be a Pecunian.
Okay, great work, all 5 of you. And here we comes to the end of our presentation. And I hope everything that we have tried to display as the characteristics of a Pecunian, and all of those characteristics are the characters or the features that one should have to be the masters of money. We thank Anand, we thank everyone who is present over here to give us the opportunity for presenting such a topic which is ultimately the root cause of every issues that we are able to see in the world today. So thank you so much for the same, and we all 7 of us hope that the presentation was up to the mark. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Team Pecunians, for this insightful display. You presented comprehensive data beautifully. I would like to request all team members to themselves give a huge round of applause for this successful presentation. Now, I would like to request Jaswinder ma'am to share her views regarding the presentation, followed by the question answer round.
Can you just stop sharing, please? Thank you, Team Pecunians, for this very, very tech-savvy and very futuristic presentation. It was very well put together, but along with it, I would also say somewhere it left us a little confused too. You know, somewhere the focus was on do this, do that, should not do this. It was all preachy and stating facts. Nowhere was it brought forth that how that phenodemic, I think you said in 2030 or something. What is it? That wasn't stressed upon. So why, what had happened, what is that catastrophe wasn't emphasized. So I really didn't know, and why would I believe you without, it didn't hit home, so to say. You know, you lost me somewhere in the middle, and it was more like I have to do it. By I mean a person on earth has to do it because you, the Pecunians, are saying so. You had to involve us. It was all about you. It wasn't about the other side experiencing it and realizing it. If you would have brought it down to what do you think your wants are, needs are, if you would have connected it to the current scenario and asked questions like, you were in a pandemic, you were confined to your homes for weeks and months, what all did you need? You had money in your bank accounts. Could you save the lives of? You could have presented those situations where it hit home, and it, like, I'm again in your presentation, so I, as a dweller of earth, would relate to it. It was, so I don't know, that connect somewhere I did not get, but otherwise a very futuristic presentation. I would like to in fact ask you, what is the difference between need and want?
Okay, so I would like to.
Yes, please.
So when you talk about need is the basic necessities. What are needs? Food, water, shelter, and wants are beyond that. So when you reach a limit and you are still greedy for more things, you are trying to grab everything you have, like cars, and if you have a home, you still are in need. You are still chasing a bigger home. And if you have a stable income, you're still chasing for more income, then that is a want. And you should not confuse between two. It is not bad to have a want and a need, but you should not confuse between the two.
Okay, so is it so easy to make it black and white? This is a need and this is a want. You said food, water, shelter, clothing. Are you ready to, honest to God, are you ready to, and is it possible in this day and age? Even in this pandemic, when we were faced with that situation where we very clearly were able to distinguish between our needs and wants, there were certain things which you haven't put in the need category, like internet, telephone, a device, a phone or a tablet, which you required for education, in the need category. So needs also change with time. Right. So ponder on this question. That is what I wanted at this age to think. Don't make it very idealistic that khana, pina, kapda, makan is the only need. Sometimes there's that area where it overlaps. Maybe, yes, a phone is a need, but not an iPhone 12. Any normal smartphone can do. So that is where I would distinguish need from want. But somewhere certain things jinko hum badi easily we put them, then it is a question you are asked by a jury member, you'll very easily come down to the basics of needs and wants, but sometimes that area overlaps. Okay, so think about that. Thank you for this futuristic presentation. Over to Nikita, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for enlightening words. I'm sure your feedback will help the team grow. Now, it would be my pleasure to invite Nikita ma'am to share her valuable feedback regarding the presentation, followed by a short question and answer round.
Okay. Harshit, were you trying to say something when Jaswinder ma'am was speaking? Because I could see your hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't miss that. Harshit, you want to say? He's not on my screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's not on my screen.
I just wanted to convey that for an individual person, there are different needs and wants. We cannot specify needs and wants for a group or whole. In my opinion, needs are basically the things that a person needs in basic life, and wants is greed that brings you us. Yes, that I just wanted to convey.
Perfect. Yes, you cannot say black and white that this is the need and this is want. Sometimes they overlap. Yes, perfect, Harshit. You got it. Thank you.
Like, for instance, for an asthmatic person, maybe nebulizer is a need, right? And if you are not asthmatic, but just because you want to keep yourself safe and you hoard your house with a nebulizer and oxygen concentrator and an oxygen cylinder, it is definitely agreed. So
yes,
anyhow, I guess,
and devices, they were always, anybody would put them under wants, but they became a necessity during this pandemic. So there are so many things. So this keeps changing.
All right, team pecunians. Okay, I like that word. I'm going to use it somewhere now. Let others keep guessing what this is about. But I think all in all, a very like ma'am said, a very sci-fi kind of a presentation, and it was like Team Avengers. I could actually see you in your gear and trying to save the world. But and a lot of information out there. I felt somewhere that you focused a lot on the survey. There was a major chunk of your entire presentation which was survey oriented, and I know you tried to make it very scientific, but I got lost somewhere in between, because all I could make out was a difference between the thinking pattern of 15 to 24 and 31 to 40 is what I could make out at the end. That, they have less money, but they are more social outreach oriented. They have more money, but they will not spend too much money on social outreach. And it was all muddled. By the end of it, I tried to absorb it and analyze it, but I got confused. Yes, I could very much see the apparent difference between the two age groups and where this was leading, but I did not know how it served the topic. In what way did it serve what the topic was for the day? Because it's just different orientations and different requirements and different thought processes with age, time, and experience, because your priorities change and because you have a different set of responsibilities in different age groups. So obviously, when you're an age group which has a family, you will look at earning more money. You'll be able to spend less of it on other frivolous things because you want to save it. Whereas when you are younger, you are more idealistic, so you want to create go for a job which will get you money out of your passion. When you're older, you realize that it may not always happen. Be realistic, pick a job, earn money because you need it. So I got what you were trying to say, but I did not know how it kind of got us back to the topic and proved a point somewhere. So that was one. Though I like the whole idea of how, it would have been nice if you had compared how the needs for money and how we look at life changes in different age group. That would still be would have made sense to me. Okay, now another thing which I felt was the good was towards the end, where you pointed out the changes that have come in the pandemic, which you were able to say that we moved, we realized that we can money is a bad master and we have to make it our servant. So we re-prioritize things in our life. We started paying attention to nature, and corporate started celebrating skills rather than just the money aspect of it. So that part I liked, but that was a very brief portion of your entire presentation. And one thing I want to object to. Okay, any guesses? There was one aspect of this part only towards the end where you were highlighting different things. Just go through it, because all of you would know your presentation by heart. I'm very sure of it. So when you were highlighting that in the pandemic, there's a lady who's smelling the flower, and there's somebody else who's on the laptop, and you're saying celebrating differences. There were one or two more images where there was something. Tell me, what was it? Anyone? Yeah, Harshit, tell me.
Oh, sorry. The children running.
Nah, not at all. What other image was there?
People were hugging each other. They were happy.
No, not at all. That's good. That's a good thing. There was one. You're forgetting. Yes.
Can I?
Yes, Mehak.
The wife was.
Yes. So very happy. The women have what? Ladies or women have stopped complaining to their spouse about the money. I mean, excuse me, why are we gender stereotyping? I mean, what gives you the right to say that women are the ones who pick up fights over money with their spouse? I mean, never, ever do that. Gender stereo, and you are a younger generation. How can you gender stereotype? That is the first thing you should steer clear of. Never do it. I mean, you could have spoken about people are having less, disagreements because of money, or people have put disagreements aside caused due to money. But to put it on that the woman is, trying to, pick up less fights with her husband over money is very, very wrong. So that is one thing that you need to take care of. Never bring forth such things. I'm just speaking on a lighter note. I'm not trying to, I'm just rogering you, because moment it came, I said, I must tell them, because you have to be very particular about certain things. So that was one. And yeah, another aspect which you could have perhaps, spoken of was the fact that it has brought in I mean, when we started making money our master, it had brought in a lot of consumerism and materialism. That was an aspect which could have been emphasized a lot. You know how, and that would have brought clearly the difference between needs and wants, what ma'am was talking about. So as money started ruling your life, as you let it, percolate into your life, and as it started going higher up in your priority of different things, over relationships, over everything, it brought in consumerism, it brought in materialism, and we started disregarding other aspects of life which were more important. And now how, with time, people have realized that you need to spend money, but spend it on experiences, spend it on travel, because it teaches you, it educates you, rather than spend it on branded products. Like ma'am said, have an Apple iPhone, looks very fancy, fantastic. And I know all of you are going to go for it, and you're busy nodding your heads. So don't try to tell me everybody will buy Reebok and Nike and whatever the likes of it. Nobody will go for poor old Bata. But I'm just telling you that these are things that you can learn, because the pandemic has taught us that these things are all ephemeral. They are short-lived. They have only very limited value. If you have surplus and you don't need to save, if you're the Ambanis, perhaps you can buy the store if all you can. But if you are a working class who's working very hard to build their capital, then, like you said, I love that principle, the, what did you say, 50-30-20 principle. That was a big takeaway. Okay, we are all going to do that in our lives, all of you also. We means it includes you, right? So next time when you ask your parents to buy you something, apply this to yourself. Correct? So all in all, children, I just felt it was a good presentation. But like ma'am said, that what was it? Phenodemic is what you say. Yeah, we were a little lost. I mean, I was just kind of imagining what the world would look like if something like that came in. Maybe the dollars would be flying, or something would be happening. So I had no idea what it meant, but sounded fancy. And for me, the takeaway was 50-30-20. For me, the takeaway was the Pecunian term, which I really liked. And all the best in future. Just remember, be focused on the topic. Try and focus on what the caption says, rather than become very academic in your surveys and interpretations, because nobody's looking at something academic here. Everybody's looking at some takeaways. Everybody's looking at something that connects to you on a personal level, something that reaches out to your heart. It's always like that in life, for everything. Even when you're doing your presentations, if you speak passionately, you speak from your heart, you make a connect with the audience. If you are dispassionate and you have used all the fancy terms, but you have this stiff faced look on your face, and very what do you say, clinically you go about your presentation, you never make the connect with the audience. So these are little takeaways, but well done, and well done to the mentor also. And I can see that he's very fascinated by sci-fi. So he got you all that, let's go ahead and give it a very refreshing take to how you looked at the topic. That I must give you. Very different, very unique. I know most people would not think the way you thought. So kudos to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your inputs. They will surely take the interns a long way. With this, we conclude this presentation session by Team Pecunians. I once again thank the team for their hard work, judges for their time, and Anand team for their steadfast efforts. Until next time, stay home and stay safe. Thank you so much.